All right, if this edition of Cardinals Insiders was a position battle, only 2 of the 3 of us would make it out of camp, gentlemen.
You got that
Ron
right.
Wolfley, Paul Calvisi, and the starter, Darren Urban. It'd really be me and Wolf. We'd be vying for that last roster spot. Something you're familiar with, Wolf.
I don't think that'd be a battle at all, Paul, as a matter of fact. I think that'd be over.
No, okay. I would overachieve. I might give you a run till the 3rd preseason game, and then all of a sudden. Anyway, the position battle, speaking of 3, Darren, what would you say? There are 3 premier position battles going on at Cards Camp right now?
Well, you would figure in terms of overall roster, maybe not the starters, but you're looking at center, you're looking at wide receiver, especially after Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, and you're looking at the cornerback spot knowing that Patrick Peterson's going to be out for those first 6 games.
All right, let's start with corner. And Pat P out the first 6 games, made an unbelievable play earlier. We just saw it. He's almost regular season ready. Robert Alford will be the starter, and then what? How would you handicap it from there?
It looks right now that Tremaine Brock's going to get that first chance at being outside. It sounds like maybe the coach is a little more comfortable with his experience out there. But Byron Murphy, look, you're talking about the second or the first pick of the 2nd round. You're talking about a guy who's done both, who's working at both the nickel and the outside. Is he going to be ready for that first week in terms of playing outside? I think we're going to see on that, but I don't think they'd be shy of doing that depending on how Tremaine Brock looks, quite frankly.
Let me jump in on that one right there because it's really fascinating to me. I saw Byron Murphy lining up in the slot, right? Obviously, Tremaine Brock is out there opposite of Robert Alford. I saw him lining up in the slot. To me, it makes sense. Leave him there. Leave him there. Let him just go ahead and work in the slot like that until Pat P is actually going to be able to come back. Now listen, in games, of course, you're going to have to put him out on the perimeter at some point in time. You've got to get him reps out there. But for the most part, I'd love to see them leave Byron Murphy right there in the slot and let him develop that so that when Pat P comes back, hopefully you got Robert Alford, Pat P, and you got Byron Murphy in the slot.
But what if I said Tremaine Brock actually played mainly in the slot last year for Vance Joseph?
Yeah.
And,
if Byron
and
Murphy
the young legs and the athleticism is Byron Murphy.
All I'm going to say is that Byron Murphy can actually hold up there in the slot. That's where I'm going to leave him right now because you've got to have experience on the outside. Otherwise, you're going to get double moved a ton.
Or you're both wrong, and it's the Paulie Pigskin breakout player at camp as forecasted in June. Chris Jones, the second-year guy out of Nebraska, the 6-footer, who's looked very good so far.
Possibly, and I wouldn't rule out Chris Jones. Even Kliff Kingsbury brought his name up specifically along with Brock and Murphy, so we'll see.
All right. How about the guys they're covering, wide receiver? All right, so as Darren mentioned, Wolf, you got Larry and you got Christian Kirk. Then what? What have you seen out here?
Oh, my goodness. First of all, Keyshawn Johnson, he's flashed. He flashed out here again today, just watching him, right? He's made plays, made a touchdown catch down there. The ref said it was good. It was good. It was a catch, right?
The GM already gave him a shout-out on NFL Network.
Absolutely. I think they would have been reviewing that. But Keyshawn Johnson, there's no doubt about it. This guy is developing. Andy Isabella. Thin Izzy. Andy Isabella starting to catch the ball out here. Catch the ball out here in front of him. He's doing it every time now. To me, they've done a great job. David Rye and Jerry Sullivan, the legend Jerry Sullivan, working with him in his hands and catching the ball out in front of him away from his body. That guy has really flashed. Hakeem Butler's got some work.
No doubt. Now, first off, Darren, don't write Thin Izzy at all, okay? Because the nickname
it's
Roadrunner. His nickname in college was
Roadrunner. I
Roadrunner.
write that one either.
And it's a perfect fit for the desert.
Bad.
So it's
Roadrunner.
it's Roadrunner for Andy Isabella. What about Kevin White?
You know, he's a guy who obviously you see the raw tools when he's running around out here. You see the height and the speed. I haven't seen a ton out of him out of camp, although he's made a play while we're watching today. He's made a couple plays where I've been impressed. But again, he's a guy who you keep waiting for that step forward, and I don't know if he's totally given it yet, and I think he's got some work to do.
And of course, we're forgetting the other guys running first team, Trent Sherfield.
Yeah, Trent Sherfield, I think the fact that he plays special teams and he plays them so well, that's the problem with Kevin White.
Yeah.
Kevin White is not a special teams guy. He's not a transitional technician. That's going to hurt him.
Here's the thing. The Cardinals figured to keep 7 receivers. And no one would be shocked. Kliff Kingsbury's already mentioned that. All right, how about the center position, Wolf? You got A.Q. Shipley and Mason Cole. At different times, they've been running first team and second team. And then you got the rookie Lamont Gilliard. But How do you see that shaking out right now? That's probably the fiercest position battle we're going to have, right?
I was just going to say, Paulie, right there, when you talk about position battles, that right there is probably the biggest one in camp. Who's going to be the starting center for the Arizona Cardinals? And by the way, this is something that every veteran has seen before, is it not? Every veteran faces this, the young guy and the old guy. And the old guy better be heads and shoulder above the young guy, or guess what? They're going to go with the young guy. I don't know where they're at right now. These games, these preseason games, are going to determine who's going to be the starting center.
To me, there's one thing Mason Cole can't replace, and that's the experience of A.Q. Shipley. And when you have a rookie quarterback, to me, that seems invaluable.
Well, even A.Q. Shipley said it himself. It was brought up to him about whether his experience could help somebody like Kyler Murray, and there's no question that it could help him. But again, as Wolf said, one of the important parts about this is when you're trying to build a roster and you're trying to get a little bit younger and you're trying to build for the future, if you're not head and shoulders above them and you're a veteran, I mean, now all of a sudden it's not just are you starting or not, now it's are you on the roster or not. And that's the reality of the NFL when you're talking about a 33-year-old player. Now, I will say this. A.Q. Shipley has been very confident all offseason that he's going to be able to take a step forward and he's going to be able to win this job. And that's a tough thing to get past because he's got the confidence right now, I think, to really fight for this thing.
Probably only a couple more Cardinals insiders for you guys to make plays and make an impression, just to let you know.
I'm feeling confident.
You are? Okay. All right, Wolf, I don't know. We'll see. We'll grade out the film on Cardinals Insider, and we'll let you know how you perform.
They can't do Oklahoma, but we can, Paul.
That's a good place to end it, right here on azcardinals.com.
On all your keys, whatever defense you're in, you got to make sure you got to worry about what Kyler's going to do as well. Just knowing who's back there at all times.
See these fans out here in the stands. Were you ever one of those fans? Did you ever come out here and watch as a kid?
I actually did a couple of practices. I remember I was just sitting in their spot, so it's very exciting now. I'm on the field actually playing now, so after practice I go sign autographs, so that's a very special moment.
Yeah, what's that like? I mean, like you said, you were a kid out there, and now you're breaking up passes for Larry Fitzgerald.
It's a blessing, just because I'm from Arizona, so it feels good to be back home, but also just knowing that I know, sometimes I know a lot of people in the stands, so it makes me feel even better just knowing I'm from here, and all the support that they've been showing us as a whole team has just been great.
You're not just defending Larry, you're knocking Larry down.
Just like I said, just playing defense, trying to make plays. Just trying to make plays.
Out there watching you, saying, man, I could be that guy because he was that kid.
Oh, yes, sir.
What's it like to be that kind of a role model for some of these kids?
It's the biggest blessing because, like I said, you're in their seats, you've been in their shoes before, so just after signing, just give them, advice, just tell them keep going because I was just in your seats. I'm probably, like I said, one of the youngest in the locker room because I could go tell them, like, hey, just keep working, do whatever you want to do, whatever you go, just keep going hard, you're going to make it.
There aren't a lot of rookies that start from the first game, and Kliff has basically said without Patrick, you're going to have a big role. What kind of expectations are there for your own self, knowing that, hey, I've got to be ready to go for week one?
Expectation is very high. Just knowing whatever happens, whatever situation happens, even if I go in, I'm play, or if I don't, I'm sitting. I just got to be prepared because whenever someone says something happens, you got to be prepared. The next body got to go up. So just keep carrying and just make sure I'm staying focused. Even though if I'm not starting, just stay focused and just prepare myself like I'm going to be a starter.
How excited are you to get into that game next week against the Chargers?
I'm ready. I'm very excited. I'm ready to get this whole experience going. I'm just ready for that game.
Cards Daily is presented by Arizona Lottery. What's your game? Find out at ArizonaLottery.com.
Yeah, that was, more of a scuffle, I think. Two guys just being competitive, so that wasn't really much.
Yeah, Robert Alford and Damiere Byrd a little extra after the whistle. We'll call it offsetting penalties here at Cards Camp. Paul Calvisi with Cards Daily. Just don't call it a fight.
The Major League Baseball fight, you'll see that one. That's how you get it done right there. Take on the whole team.
Yeah, if you want an eye-opener for the Cardinals, it continues to be Kyler. In fact, what are DBs finding out the hard way?
Sometimes we're playing cover two, and he darts it in there right in between that corner and safety. So I would say the accuracy and also, of course, the speed. I mean, people know he's really fast, but he's really, really fast. It's crazy to see they have so much things they can do. They can hand the ball off, or Kyler could run it, or they could throw it. So that's going to be very hard for defenses to stop.
The bottom line is that players will tell you Kyler isn't learning the offense, he's running the offense. And maybe that has a lot to do with who he's spending time with. Fitz.
I think overall, Kyler is a very cerebral player, very smart young man. So he understands if there's anybody you're going to take knowledge to and soak it up, that's the guy. And
as Kyler has been proving, bigger isn't better, better is better. Although we'll leave you with how some players for fun sometimes want to measure themselves against Kyler, literally.
Who's taller, you or Kyler?
He's taller. He got a bigger head, though. Like, my legs are longer, my torso's longer, but his head gets me. Like,
How did you handle the dust-up yesterday during camp?
yeah, that was more of a scuffle, I think. Two guys just being competitive, then going at each other every day, and so that wasn't really much. The Major League Baseball fight, y'all see that one? That's how you get it done right there. Take on the whole team. No, it was just scuffle, both guys competing well, and it got shut down pretty quickly.
Is the point of practicing outdoors Friday just to break it up because you don't really play in any hot weather games?
It is, and get used to the sun, returners and guys, on deep balls, things of that nature, just being outside, adjusting to those type conditions.
Was it important for you guys to move Justin Pugh back to the left side this year? He played right side last year.
We felt like he was more comfortable that way in our discussions with him. We felt like he played his best football at that position. He feels most comfortable there, and luckily we were able to get Sweezy, which afforded us that luxury, and he's done a nice job so far.
It looks like Larry's helping Kyler quite a bit on the field. When you hear those conversations, are they about technique? Like, can you share anything about how?
Yeah, I think overall, Kyler is a very cerebral player, very smart young man. So he understands if there's anybody you're going to take knowledge to and soak it up, that's the guy. And so I know they talk about all types of subjects out there, but definitely trying to get on the same page football-wise. And it's a new offense for Larry, and I think he wants to see it from Kyler's eyes and his view and learn the way Kyler's processing it. And so I think it's been a lot of really good back and forth between those two guys.
Do you have any updates on some of your injured guys? Swearinger, Valentine, Garcia, Clay?
I would say all of them are pretty close at this point. As we get into the preseason games, I would expect them to start getting back into practice.
What's Chad Williams' injury, and after the offseason you've seen, how do you evaluate him right now?
We're still working through the evaluation process. Haven't seen a ton because he has had a couple things, and it's a lower soft tissue, lower body issue, and hope to get him back soon so we can continue to evaluate.
What's your sense of Brett Hundley so far? Now he's acclimated the offense.
I think decision making is getting quicker and quicker, and that's what we want him to do is approach every rep he's getting like a game. And I thought yesterday he made some good throws and played it with a sense of urgency, and that's what we've asked him to do, and hopefully that continues.
Have you been able to see anything since he's arrived? Jalen Thompson, what have you seen from him so far?
We really like, as a staff, the way he's just jumped in and been really competitive. Still learning the system. I'm sure his head's swimming a little bit, getting to know everybody, but has some really nice physical traits. Has flipped his hips and made some plays on footballs, and super competitive, like I mentioned to y'all before. But knowing the staff at Washington State like I do, I mean, they rave about his leadership, competitiveness, toughness, and that's what we've seen so far.
Have you guys swapped Mike Leach stories yet?
Do I want to give any Mike Leach stories yet? Oh, yeah. We've talked a few times about Mike Leach.
How's David Johnson look?
Good. He seems healthy. He's excited. I think he's a guy that understands in our offense we're going to try to play to his strengths and we want him to have open dialogue about that. What does he feel comfortable doing? And we want to maximize him as a player this year.
It almost seems like he has a chip on his shoulder coming into the season, like he wants to prove something.
I think so. I think, he's been banged up the last couple of years, and he knows when he's at his best, I think, what he can do, and that's what we all want for him.
What kind of weapon can he be specifically out of the backfield when teams don't know if he's going to be running a route or?
Yeah, I mean, that's I think when he had his best year, was what was going on when you watch that film, and hopefully we can use him in a bunch of different ways, and anytime, one of your best players is touching the football a bunch, you usually have success.
He has a full receiver route tree because of what he did in high school and college. How impressive is his receiving ability? And have you ever seen a running back have that type of catch skills?
I haven't been around one that looks that natural doing it, as far as, you can run real routes and, do different things, and has great hands. And yeah, he's unique. I mean, there's a few guys around the league that can do it, and it definitely adds a different element to your offense.
Given all that David can do, what are you seeing for Chase Edmonds' role?
Very similar. I mean, he can get out there and run routes, and very smart heads-up player. Anything you put in, he's going to know it at every position, and we appreciate that as a staff.
Have you gone through film of 2016 to look at how David was used? I
have, just, kind of cut-ups of their passing game to the running backs and what they did, and I think he's a guy who in a bunch of different offenses can be very successful, and like I said, I want to get to know him more and understand what he likes to do and what he feels comfortable doing.
If as this battle for center position plays out, what kind of effect might that have on Kyler, kind of going back and forth with those two guys?
Luckily, they're both, veteran. Well, Mason's not a veteran, but he played a bunch of games last year, so and he played a ton of games in college. So they've both played a lot of football, and he understands what's going on. It's not like we're losing any sort of continuity with either guy. Both guys are good players and battling for the starting position, and so I don't think it's affecting Kyler one way or the other.
This might be totally out there, but have you talked to Bruce about how he used David back in 16?
I have not, no. He's busy, obviously, in Tampa and getting that thing rolling, so I haven't had a chance to speak with him.
It looked like the DBs yesterday at the start of teams kind of brought an edge with them.
The team period? Yeah, I thought, defensively, they started fast. Offensively, didn't start very fast, but that had a lot to do with their attitude and the way they were playing. They had a great sense of urgency to start that team drill.